They hated each other.
That's what the rumor is. Yeah, they absolutely despised each other.
But also remember, JFK literally could have done anything if he lived. He could have. He literally could have taken his shit in a bucket and said, "I have a new general here. It's in this bucket." Like, who knows? He could have went insane. Anything could happen to that year.
Yeah. And when a group of Dallas businessmen worried about the effect the assassination would have on commerce in the city later contacted Jackie Kennedy, asking her to sign a testimonial to Dallas hospitality.
Oh,
Fuck
my
you.
Seriously?
She declined to respond.
No shit.
Meanwhile, Lee Harvey Oswald was on the run. And that's where we'll pick back up for part 4 of JFK, with the capture and eventual assassination of Lee Harvey Oswald at the hands of nightclub owner Jack Ruby.
Oswald!
Wow. Awesome. Well, that is, I mean, not awesome what happened, but an unbelievable true American story.
Yeah.
So we are now, this is the midpoint of our 6-part series. It's going to be 6, looking like it.
It has to be.
We're telling the story as thoroughly as we can with the quote-unquote facts that we have. So right now, this is...
quote-unquote facts. So we're doing quite a few actual facts.
Oh, these next 3 episodes are going to be a lot of me talking to... I just feel like I'm 10 years old and my older brother is like, I want to suck dick. And then my dad is like, have we thought about Jesus today? And I'm just like, Mom, this is really good quiche.
I'm very excited because I'm already upset.
No, I can see.
Like, I'm already upset.
I can see the fight that is. I'm going to desperately try to temper down because we need to keep on doing the show. We have a contract now for a lot of years.
We have mutual respect.
Yeah,
we are. I'm getting to Dog Meets Kennedy. I am Khrushchev, who understands that we have to create a back channel to communicate, but on the public, we have to remain true to our on the surface ideology.
The Khrushchev of podcasting, huh? All right, I like it.
I'll take the Kennedy. Actually, no, I won't take the. I don't want that.
No, no, don't do that.
I don't want that at all.
Don't do that at all. As a matter of fact, be the Jimmy Carter of podcasting.
No, I don't want to be the Jimmy Carter.
He's great.
No, you know
I'll
who you
be
should
the Jimmy
be,
Carter.
about
Then
to
I'll
be.
create peace between Israel and Palestine. Marcus, you
could
can
never
Israel.
be a farmer.
Henry, you're
you
Palestine.
don't like getting up early, and you're terrible at building shit. You would never be able to build a house.
He was a freaking peanut farmer. All I do is eat peanuts.
You're a peanut eater. But guess what? You know who Marcus could definitely be? The Hillary Clinton of podcasts.
No.
Now that she gets to be, she's having her own podcast soon.
Is she?
That'll
really?
be fun.
All right. Well, we can't.
Not. Ben, just peanuts. Are they grown above ground or below ground?
Peanuts are a legume, and they are actually grown below ground.
Oh, very good.
Wow.
Oh, very good. I'm surprised.
Of course. What, do you think there's peanut trees? No.
It's just
I'm surprised you know that.
No, they're peanut. No.
No, you don't give him any respect for this. This is all information that comes from a bathroom reader trivia book. That is that is where he got it from. It is from various bar bathrooms.
All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Last Podcast on the Left. Again, you can email sidestorieslpotl@gmail.com. Let us know if you have any insight into what we're discussing, please. We always are interested to learn more. And keep on supporting all the shows here on LPN. We have our tour coming up for our book tour in April. We cannot wait. We are super excited to go see you all there.
Big thing is, we want just a couple more butts in Beacon Theater in New York City. It's our first show of the tour.
Yes.
Come on out and come and support us when we are at our hugest venue and at our loosest. Because we will have just tried to do the show once. So it will be it's going to be a fun ass experiment. So please come see us in this. It's technically high pressure, but like Lee Harvey Oswald, we hope to rise to the occasion.
Also, this next month, I have some shows coming up I'm screening my documentary, Hail Yourself, America. In March 9th, I'll be in Syracuse. March 10th, Albany. March 11th, Manchester. March 15th, Orlando. March 22nd, Columbus. And March 29th, Kansas City.
And don't forget to, of course, go out and support No Dogs in Space.
Yes.
We just finished our Stooges series, and this week we started our series on Suicide, which is the band that recorded my favorite album in the entire world. They got a great story. Even if Suicide's music isn't your cup of tea, they've still got a fantastic fucking story. So yeah, go check out No Dogs in Space.
Yeah, turns out they all died at the end. All right. Yes, and keep on supporting all the shows here on the Last Podcast Network.
Buy our book. April 7th is the day it comes out, and go to an independent bookstore and do it. Support your indie bookstore like Barnes & Noble. Super independent.
Strange.
But honestly, if you're going to buy it from barnesandnoble.com because that helps us out the most, or order it at your local bookstore. And when we are on the road, a part of what we're going to do is stop at local bookstores and sign books and leave them. So if you're worried about signed bookstores, the goal is that everywhere we go, we're going to hit up a bookstore and try to sign as many as we can. So
sound like
we're excited.
Crazy, weird bandits that just leave our signature everywhere. But I love it. Maybe in Dallas. Maybe is the book depository still there?
Yeah, it's still there. I mean, it's a museum now.
Yeah, forget about it. All right, everyone, thank you all so much for listening. Hail yourselves.
Hail Satan.
Okay.
Magustalations.
Hail me. If you can.
Henry, so what was the role on Superstore that you did?
It was more of a bagel than a roll.
Oh, God. Who needs cigars when you got humor like that?
Wow. I played a pedophile.
Is that right?
No, it's Superstore.
That was
nice, kind show. This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.
We're facing the biggest health challenge of our generation, and we've shown that together we're stronger than ever. But to keep making a difference, we need to support each other. If you're a man and you've had coronavirus recently, then you might just have the antibodies to help save lives in your blood plasma. That's why we need men to donate. Giving blood plasma is safe, easy, and during this lockdown, considered essential travel. Be the difference. Search Donate Plasma or call 0300 123 2323 today.
Hey everyone, Ben Kissel here, letting you know I'm hitting the road, showing my documentary, Hail Yourself, America. March 9th, I'll be in Syracuse at the Funny Bone. In March 10th, I'll be in Albany at the Funny Bone. March 11th, I'm going to be in Hartford, Connecticut, so come on out for that show. March 15th, I'll be in Orlando, Florida. March 22nd, Columbus, Ohio, and March 29th, Kansas City, Missouri. So I cannot wait to see you all there. Super excited to spend the evening with you. Get your tickets, and we can all hang out as one big happy family. All right, everyone, hail yourselves.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
From your grave.
That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
You know, on this day, March 6th, 1975, was the first time that the Zapruder film was shown to all of America.
Really?
Yes, it's the anniversary of the funniest ending to a presidential television series that I've ever seen. It's so crazy the way his brain explodes and then it goes to black.
Right.
And then don't stop believing. It's amazing.
You can't do that on TV. Hey everyone, welcome to the last podcast on the left. I am Ben, staring at Marcus and looking at Henry over there in Los Angeles. Henry, you are looking good, buddy. You're feeling good. This whole week, I had a JFK week. And I understand what struggle is like because I'm wearing my full velour suit today.
Yeah, you are. It's all red. It's beautiful.
Yep. And on the outside, it looks incredible, right? Like the Italian wealthy mom that I am.
Yeah, incredible.
You do, yeah. You look like a giant drunk plushy bear.
But what you don't know is on the inside, I've lost a string. The strings that you're supposed
to the pants is crucial. That's crucial.
And
did you pull it out in a series of rage? Did you pull it out thinking you're some big giant handsy lawnmower?
I don't know what happened to it. So the struggle is real. We're all JFK this week, and life is hard.
That's your JFK week.
JFK got his dick sucked by Marilyn Monroe.
Literally, though, you know that she was horrible at it. I mean, seriously.
Why?
Because she's just, first of all, she was hopped up on Quaaludes. Second of all, she's so hot and so rich. I guarantee you she was just like,
No.
That's it. And then he's Marilyn, thank you.
I refuse to let you malign the dick-sucking abilities of Marilyn Monroe. I fully believe that she would give a humdinger of a lick.
Anyway, we're on to a very serious topic here. Let's talk JFK.
So immediately after the fatal shot that took the life of the president, Lee Harvey Oswald hid his rifle between 2 stacks of boxes, left 3 spent shell casings behind, and started down the stairs from the 6th floor of the book depository.
Quotations.
No, not quotations at all. Facts.
No, I know. But it's fun to do for our audience that does that anyway throughout all of any bit of information about John F. Kennedy or his assassination or Lee Harvey Oswald or Jack Ruby. It's always important to just put potential quotations around any hinging fact.
Well, strangely, he stopped at the 2nd floor, ducked into the lunchroom, and bought himself a Coke from the machine.
No way.
Yep, thirsty.
That is a strange Coca-Cola advertisement.
Hey, you guys, I can't believe they filled the Coke machine up. That's incredible. Did you guys hear there's some kind of firecracker parade going on outside? Oh, I love it when tiny things explode.
Well, by accounts of people who saw him, he was eerily calm in that moment, even as everyone else was going into panic mode. I mean, it's like he knew something that everyone else didn't, because everyone else was in an absolute panic. 3 shots had just been fired at the president right outside of their office.
Right.
He's literally walking around. He's like, "Can you even believe that they replaced the lead guy from My Dream of Jeannie?" And everybody's like, "The president's dead. The president is dead." And he thinks that he's like, "No, if I'm cool, everybody's gonna be cool too. They'll see.
Right.
I'm a cool guy. Yeah, I'm small potatoes. But honestly, what I really am today, cool as a cucumber. I'm very long cucumbers."
Suddenly, though, Oswald was faced with a police officer who had instinctively gone into the book depository following the assassination. With his gun drawn, the cop asked Oswald's boss, Roy Truly, if Oswald worked there. And when Truly confirmed it, the officer left and kept searching for a gunman. That's all he was doing. He was going through the book depository with the boss going, does that person work here? Does that person work here? And for some reason, it never crossed his mind that maybe someone who worked at the book depository was the guy who shot the president.
No way would a shut-in incel who works at a bookstore ever commit a crime. No way.
He wasn't an incel. He was married.
No
he was
idea.
Married. He had a wife. There's nothing more incelibate about it. Sometimes your wife makes you make love, and it's really nice.
Oh, my.
It was at this point that Oswald figured the best course of action would probably be to leave.
Yeah.
So he walked down the stairs to the 1st floor lobby and was headed to the front exit on Elm Street when he was stopped again. This time, it was reporter Robert McNeil, who was only asking where the nearest telephone was. So Oswald gave directions and walked away.
It's about 2 rifle shots down the street. I mean, it's about 2 blocks down the street.
I'm sorry, what was that with the rifle shots?
It's about 2 different illicit rifle shots to the back of the head of the telephone down the street.
Do you work at the book depository or?
You want a Coke? We actually just filled the machine where I killed the president. I mean, where I took my caddy.
Yeah, I'll have a Coke. Thank you.
Now, when asked later by police why he left work following what would arguably be the most interesting thing in the world to a politics junkie like Oswald, he said he just assumed everyone was going to have a half day at work because of the assassination, so he just left.
He's not wrong.
It's looking at the bright side of life, I guess.
I've said it. How many times did I watch the New York Morning News just praying for a terrorist attack so that I didn't have to go deliver the expense reports that I did not do that morning for my boss?
It's at this point that it seems as if the weight of what he'd done truly started to settle on Oswald. He walked 7 blocks down Elm and flagged down a bus. And who should be on that bus but his former landlady? She said that when she saw Oswald walk through the bus door, he looked like a maniac. His shirt was undone, he was dirty, and his face seemed to be distorted, as if something was very wrong with Lee Harvey Oswald.
No. There's nothing wrong with me. No inner turmoil with me. I'm in a play about a grown-up orphan.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's I'm a newspaper boy, but I'm 40.
Well, Lee, I've been your landlord. I was your landlord for a few years. I had no idea you were an actor. Where's the Playhouse?
Here, look, I'll show you. Oh, the Playhouse is about 3 or 4 rifle shots down the street if you actually go and you make a corner on. What did I say?
Yeah, you said rifle shots.
I am playing an orphan in a film on stage.
Okay.
Well, I can absolutely see this. I mean, after he shoots the president, he's cool and he's calm. You know, it's that adrenaline's still going, and he's like, it's not quite hit him what he's done. But in those 7 blocks between the book depository and grabbing the bus, he's starting to see the consequences of his actions. He's starting to see the absolute chaos that's going on around him. And it's really starting to hit him. Oh, fuck, I just shot the president.
Right.
Or in an explanation that makes much more sense, Dogmeat, his Manchurian candidate training is wearing off. Once the command has been issued by a man flashing a flashlight 2 times in his eyes, he shot the president in a fugue state, came out of it. Now he's very confused as to where he is. See? That's fucking Tupperware tight.
Well, the problem with that bus, though, is that the president's assassination had caused a bit of a traffic jam. And anyway, the bus was actually heading back towards the book depository. So Oswald got off and found a taxi.
The man just could not avoid going to work that day. Isn't that hard? Like, what do you have to do to get a half day in Dallas?
So this is one of those hinge points, right? Every time you go through this fucking story, you will see hinge points where conspiracy theory gets jammed in there.
Right.
Lee Harvey Oswald said that the man who picked him up in the taxi was a man by the name of Daryl Click. So people went to go look for this so-called Daryl Click, who was a taxi driver in Dallas, and they found out, according to the Dallas Taxi and Limousine Commission, whatever their version of the TLC, they said, well, we've never had a Daryl Click working for us. So they're saying, ha, that's where we got him. Lee Harvey Oswald's contact with the CIA was named Daryl fucking Click.
You know what? Everything you've just said, I can't dispute. Isn't that interesting how conspiracy theory works?
You just can say shit and then you're forced to listen?
I heard that the CIA was a taxi and they are Transformers. I don't know how it works. Bumblebee.
Well, that's also the old conspiracy theory thing is picking and choosing. It's cherry picking what you're going to believe from certain people. It's like you believe Lee Harvey Oswald when he says that his taxi driver's name was, Daryl Click, but you don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald when he says any number of other things.
Also,
it's like how Alex Jones will rail about the mainstream media and then quote a story from ABC News and say, and this is how you know it's real.
Exactly. I've never gotten the last name of any of my Uber drivers or taxi drivers.
No.
It's first name basis at best. Usually it's just Buddy.
No, I do full introductions.
You do?
And we each name a thing that we find interesting about ourselves. Like I say, I'm a host for the coronavirus. And what that does is that's a fun fact about me.
Right.
And what that does is it stops the conversation.
There it is.
So the taxi took Oswald back towards his boarding house in the nearby neighborhood of Oak Cliff. Once he got there, he silently walked to his room and grabbed a jacket and his revolver and filled his pockets with bullets. Ooh. At around this same time, a deputy sheriff discovered the spent shells at Oswald's sniper's nest, and 10 minutes later, the gun was found as well. Now, it has been said for decades that Oswald's prints were not on the rifle, but this claim has since found to be false. 30 years after the assassination, a fingerprint expert named Vincent Scalise put together all the photographs of the partial prints from the rifle using enhancement.
Oh, enhancement.
Enhancement.
And he proved that the prints were indeed Oswald's.
You'll notice the smudgy stains here from someone who just ate a Hostess.
We'll count those out because that's the researcher, what we call research cake here in the office.
So after the gun was found, police did a roll call of every employee that was supposed to be at the book depository, and the only one missing was Lee Harvey Oswald. So a physical description was sent out.
He's got big head, bigger than it should be. He looks weird. Tiny eyeballs. He will probably be talking about potatoes or and talking about how he can't go to a Mexican restaurant because they force dessert on you.
All right, so we're looking for someone with a big head, little eyes, talking about potatoes, can't go into a Mexican restaurant. You've just described everyone in Dallas, sir. Can you please narrow this down?
We're all guilty for the president's death.
Meanwhile, Oswald had left his boarding house with no idea where to go or what to do, knowing full well that his absence had probably been noted at the depository and the cops were most likely on their way.
I'm a little bit shocked that everyone stayed as long as they did. I guess it's a crime scene.
At the book depository?
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely a crime scene, yeah.
I would have taken the opportunity to clock out. And I would have just gone. I would have left.
I feel like people are in a crazy amount of shock.
Yeah, right.
We've seen that area of Dallas. It's actually very small. And so I can imagine there's total pandemonium. From what people are talking about, I was listening to a speech by Hugh Ainsley, who was a Dallas reporter at the time, that talked about just the total chaos that was going on in that area and how reporters were just going from person to person, being like, "What'd you see? What'd you see?" And everyone's just like, "I saw an octopus emerge from a grate. I knew it was his anti-seafood legislation is what allowed the octopus. He gave it the motive to kill the president." And so it seemed like people were kind of a part of this circus. And why would you leave? And maybe they weren't letting anybody leave.
That is one of the great ironies of journalism when it comes to misinformation. Sometimes get the story right before you get it fast.
Yeah, and it was absolute chaos down there.
Right.
It really was. And everybody had something different to say about where the shots came from, how many shots there were fired. You know, it's part of why there's so much confusion today, because eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. Right. I mean, to bring up the Titanic one more time, the survivors weren't even in agreement that the fucking boat snapped in half. And we know that it did, but we're watching it, that were actually there, couldn't even agree that the thing had actually snapped in half. So
I'm still mad at the end with the woman with the boobs. She killed the man. She killed Leonardo DiCaprio.
Plenty of room on that fucking thing.
Yeah, she had plenty of room. This is a controversy that has been, that has been weighed.
Yeah. We've talked about it. She killed that poor man.
Well, as Oswald was wandering around Oak Cliff, police officer J.D. Tippett spotted him on the street and decided from the physical description circulating that this weird-headed idiot was worth checking out. Tippett had been speaking to Oswald for less than a minute before Oswald lost his nerve, pulled out his revolver, and shot Tippett 3 times in the chest. Oswald then walked over to Tippett as he lay dying on the ground and fired a single shot into Tippett's head before walking away.
Damn. So he's just this is as close to a berserker mode, right?
Yeah.
As an assassin can get, I guess.
He is deeply flailing at the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
And as he left the body, he was heard to say, quote,
"Poor dumb cop." Or did he?
I mean, poor dumb cop. Okay, so he's gone off the rails.
Off the rails. But even without knowing that this was the president's assassin, regular neighborhood folks started chasing after Oswald. And in a panic, Oswald dumped all the spent shells from his revolver right near Tippett's body and ran away while reloading.
Or did he?
He did. He absolutely did that.
That he did do.
I mean, he left a dump of bullets as if he was a cow who ate a bunch of bullets and shat them out.
But this is one of these big moments, right?
It's another big moment. I mean, this is naturally another point of contention.
It's also crazy to be someone who is being chased by a group of people because they saw you kill a cop and just be like, turns out that's not the worst thing I did today.
Well, despite 2 witnesses picking Oswald out of a lineup, and despite the casings matching the revolver later found in Oswald's possession, a few witnesses in the neighborhood said, that wasn't Oswald.
Who was it?
It's someone else.
Some other weird-headed guy.
Some other guy. And of course, conspiracy theorists believed what points towards conspiracy. Some say Tippett was having an affair with a married woman, and that it was actually his wife's lover who killed him. Some say Oswald wasn't even there.
Whoa!
He never existed. He could have been a double. He could have been a double.
Yeah, and other books just gloss over the murder completely. One of the books that said that the mafia did it, they just said Tippett was killed by someone, perhaps Oswald, and then just fuck it. And that's the only mention in the entire book of Officer Tippett's murder.
Damn.
They said perhaps Oswald. I like the concept that J.D. Tippett, he might have been Badgeman.
Badgeman?
Oh, buddy. These next week's episodes, after today's episodes, are going to be filled with some of the more delightful Disney-like characters that are trapped inside of the world of the JFK assassination conspiracy.
Disney-like characters.
Welcome to Oswald World.
Welcome to Oswald World.
This is the Umbrella Man. Say hello to him and his wife, the Babushka Lady.
I am just a simple babushka lady, or am I a CIA assassin?
What?
Am I an umbrella man with a professional and wonderful array of umbrellas, or am I a CIA assassin?
Whoa!
But Badge Man was a man in a there is a photograph. I believe it's the Moore photograph. Don't test me on this. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a photograph of the grassy knoll, and they believe that if you enhance it, you see a little flash, right? And then if you do a bunch of color shit to the enhancement of this very, very old picture, you see what maybe sort of looks like a flash with the man with a smudge on him. It sort of looks like a badge. And there's some people that think that J.D. Tippett was, in fact, this badge man, and that he was coming around, and he was trying to kill Oswald, because Oswald was the very last loose end in the CIA plan to kill JFK, and J.D. Tippett, he just got the gun, jumped on him.
Yeah,
so much for badge
up.
man.
Well, that's a lot more complicated than it could be. But you know what I'm going to say in these next two episodes a lot? Big if true. Big if true.
And there was
Batman.
And there was others that say that, Tippett was supposed to help Oswald get away, but Tippett had a change of heart at the last minute and decided to try and arrest Oswald or kill him, and Oswald got the jump on him.
It does seem like Oswald could have gotten away. Why is he just circling the area?
Well, I mean, this proves just how fucking desperate and reckless he was at this point in the day. Where's he gonna go? What's he gonna do? Like he
Des Moines. You can go anywhere but Dallas downtown.
He had no follow-up plan.
Yes.
I think that it was almost, I'm going to say he's in shock by his own actions. He is possibly vaguely suicidal, because it seems that was the way he left it. Like, we left his ring. He left a bunch of money. He left a note. Like, he was kind of preparing and had the idea in his head that he might not survive what he's about to do. Or the other possibility, which we've talked about a little bit last episode, was that he wasn't even trying to kill the president. He was trying to kill the governor. And then he shot the president in the fucking head, right? If all of the lone nut stuff is true, that's a possibility. And now he's like, oh man, wow, I should have thought about this shit. And now he's just roaming around.
Can you imagine anything sadder than a communist's inheritance? Just like be like, I wonder what we get. Oh, it's a saltine cracker. Thank you, Lee.
Well, I've been thinking a lot over the last week about the question of motive when it comes to Lee Harvey Oswald. And what I'm kind of settling on is that I think that Lee Harvey Oswald, when he heard the JFK was coming to town, and when he saw that the parade was going right by the book depository where he worked, I think he saw this as fate. Yeah. I think Lee Harvey Oswald always thought of himself as an important person. His mother always told him that he was an important person, and this was finally his chance to gum up the wheels of the capitalist machine. It was coming right in front of him, and he just fucking took it. And remember, he only thought about this for a day and a half before he actually did it. So it's no wonder that he had no plan. It's no wonder that he's just wandering around the neighborhood. And, at the first sign of resistance, he fucking lashed out and killed someone.
Right.
There might even be a unconscious magical motive that we'll get into probably around episode 6 for all of this.
But predictably, though, this murder actually brought the police down on Oswald's head even faster. Had he not drawn attention to himself by murdering a police officer on the street in broad daylight, who fucking knows how long it would have taken for the Dallas police to actually find him? Now, Oswald managed to shake the small posse that had started chasing him after the murder of Officer Tippit, and he made it to West Jefferson Boulevard. When he heard sirens, though, he turned his back to the street and pretended to be interested in a window display at a shoe store called Hardee's.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. What is, oh, the clogs are in. Oh, that's so nice. It's nice to have your heels out as a man. Most people, they criticize a man with his feet out. But I say a man with his feet out is a man with 1 foot above the rest of society. Am I right, folks? Am I right?
So in order to look not suspicious, he did the only thing that makes him look suspicious, which is the day the president is shot, he went window shopping.
Yep, he's outside his shoe store, hands in pockets, going like flipping a coin, asking people, being like, do you think that we should have horses as pets like dogs? Why aren't there more horses as just pets?
One of the ironies is, in this case, to act normal, he should have just ran around screaming.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The manager of the shoe store, this guy named Johnny Brewer, that's exactly what he thought. There's all this chaos going around. The president's been killed. A police officer has been murdered a few blocks away, and there's this guy pretending to window shop.
Do you guys do UGG cleaning here?
Or he was waiting around for his CIA plant job to be done, and they had to come get him because he had a thing implanted in his brain.
Big if true.
So when Oswald walked away, Brewer followed him, and when Oswald snuck past a distracted employee and ducked into the Texas Theater, where we did a show a few years ago,
Awesome.
Brewer convinced the employee to call the police.
Call the police.
What was that? What's that?
That's from Ren and Stimpy. That was for Marcus and I.
Yeah. Now, there weren't a whole lot of people there for the matinee showing of War is Hell, so Oswald settled into the sea of empty seats in the back of the Texas Theater. But since the police were already on high alert because of the assassination, the murder of one of their own only increased the urgency.
He just knows it's a matter of fucking time.
Yeah.
Right.
They are clamping down so hard on him so fast, and I don't think, I bet you at this point, he wonders if he even did kill the president. I wonder if he saw the full scope of what happened through his scope, literally. I wonder if he saw the damage that he did, and instead of just dropping the gun and running, and now he's starting to realize, wow, I am criminal number one.
Right.
in
How
the
does
world.
the movie end? Turns out war is hell. How much time are we talking here? 45 minutes, an hour?
I think it's about, I bet he was arrested at 1? Somewhere around there? I think it's about 1 p.m.,
Yes.
so it's about an hour. Yeah. Well, when the cops got a call about a suspicious character ducking into a movie theater just minutes after and blocks away from the murder of Officer Tippit, police descended on the Texas Theater to arrest the suspect, which was Lee Harvey Oswald. Because at this moment, they're just trying to arrest the guy that killed the cop. They're not thinking that this is the president's fucking assassin.
With any luck, they'll just find Fred Willard and they're jerking off. And I think he should be allowed to do that. It was a jerk-off theater.
I think to apologize to Fred Willard, we should send sex workers to his home.
Yes, whatever he
Find
wants.
addresses to his home. We should send as many sex workers as we can to his home with his family and let them suck him so that he doesn't have to leave his home to do that.
I agree.
So the cops came in, the lights went up, Brewer identified Oswald as the man he followed, and the officers rushed Oswald from either side as he shouted, quote,
This is it!
He punched one cop in the face and even managed to get a hand on a cop's pistol, but the cops overwhelmed him, knocked Oswald in the head with a shotgun, and placed him under arrest.
Ooh, that's a pretty fun arrest.
While they were dragging him away, Oswald shouted, quote,
Don't hit me anymore. Don't hit me anymore. I'm not resisting arrest. I protest police brutality. This is police brutality.
Buddy, you're in Dallas. You are very lucky that you are not currently in a coma.
Help. This hurts. This really hurts. Honestly, I did not expect this much.
But when they got him outside, all he could pathetically say was, quote,
Why are you doing this to me?
I just wanted to see War is Hell.
And when Marina heard the news about what had happened with the president, especially when she heard the shots likely came from the book depository, she had, to say the least, a bad feeling about it.
Yeah, I think so. But Marina, It's very interesting to see how many authors blame Lee Harvey Oswald shooting at JFK on Marina.
Yeah.
How often they keep saying, well, if she had only taken him in that night, he wouldn't have killed the president. Being like,
What?
She had no reason to take him in.
Yeah.
He constantly beat the shit out of her.
No, this was not her fault in any way. I mean, it's a definite what if, but it's not her fault.
You guys are in very serious, committed relationships. I think it's called marriage.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys know if your significant other's having a rough day or if something's going on. It's just like kind of instinctively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just wonder what that feeling is like when it goes off in your heart that your husband has killed the president. Like, it's just got to be like, what do you do? Do you make dinner? Like, how does that make you feel?
Well, I've told Natalie, you just need to have an outline of a book ready to go and sell it.
Yeah.
If I ever go off the handle, take every interview and again, sell the story. Like, position yourself in the story. We can do a whole redemptive arc where you come to me in jail. We can make money off of this. We can make this a thing.
Okay.
But when Marina walked out to Ruth Payne's garage to see if Oswald's rifle was still there, she saw that the blanket Oswald had wrapped his rifle in looked untouched. So she thought the rifle was still there. And she didn't bother to check if the rifle was still inside.
I went to go check on the rifle and it was still asleep. So I knew he would never wake up rifle without making breakfast. Body burst.
Soon after, though, when cops showed up asking if Oswald owned any guns, Marina thought she was about to just fucking completely clear her husband of wrongdoing. She was about to take him into the garage, show him the rifle, and they would say like, oh, well, his rifle's here, so he couldn't have shot the president.
Uh-oh, this is a bad magic trick.
But when
I go check. No, the rifle is sleeping in his room and he's got the baseball today, so he could not possibly be outside with his father. Okay, wake up, Rifle. Wake up. It's time to wake up. Police officers want to say, oh, no.
Yeah, when the cops opened the blanket and found nothing there, she knew, like, okay, my husband has killed the president.
Damn.
Oh, not good.
Very bad.
Meanwhile, the president's body was in a precarious position. See, according to Texas law, when someone is murdered in Texas, the autopsy must be performed in the state so as to not break the chain of evidence. That meant that even though he was the president, JFK's autopsy should have been conducted in Texas by Texan medical examiners.
Woo, yeah, should have done it. Woo, come on, get your guns up.
No, it would have been like that. It would have been more like, well, you about ready to get done with this? All right, I guess we ought to get to it.
Well,
I think we gotta get the chest cutters on this one, cause let's really see the brains on it.
with any luck, we can shoot the brains back in his head.
All right. But the Secret Service and Lyndon Johnson wanted to take the president's body and leave Dallas as soon as possible. But when they tried taking the body after hospital staff had washed it and wrapped the head in towels so blood wouldn't leak out into the coffin, the Secret Service was stopped by Dallas County Medical Examiner Earl Rose. Earl told them that what they had here was a homicide, and the fact that it was the president didn't mean shit.
Didn't mean shit.
And once again, as I said in episode 1, it was a suicide.
But Roy Kellerman, head of the Secret Service, told him, fuck you. This is the president, and we're taking him back to Washington, D.C.
Whoa.
Eventually, a justice of the peace showed up and sided with Earl Rose, saying, as far as we're concerned, this is just another homicide, and this shit's going to be taken care of like every other homicide in Texas.
But they said it legitimately resulted in a tug of war between the Secret Service and the medical people of the Parkland Hospital. Literally pulling back and forth as they're going like, no, the president's coming with us. No, the president's coming with us, boy. What about we taking him? We doing the cut. And you're like, we're taking him to cut. We're bringing him back home. We're bringing him to D.C. Pulling it back and forth as his brains just slide back and forth on the It was apparently, if it wasn't so tragic, it would have been a very dark comedic moment.
Sure.
Yeah. But finally, a doctor at Parkland decided This is the president. So he signed off on the release, and the body was taken to Air Force One. They actually had to break the handles off of the coffin to fit it into the door.
I actually got a good reach out from a listener named S that is a funeral director that was told it got some information about JFK's casket. Apparently, they upsold the Secret Service on the casket in order to get it. It was a model called a Promethean. It was an all bronze casket. And apparently, it can cost something like $30,000, right? It's a very, very expensive thing. But it was all full of blood and shit. So apparently, they did not like the look of it. So they ended up doing it after getting the autopsy done in Washington, D.C., they drilled holes in the bottom of it and sunk it in the ocean.
Government waste. Government waste.
So by 6 o'clock, JFK's body was back in Washington, D.C., and it was soon taken to Bethesda Naval Hospital for the autopsy. Now, there are a few conflicting stories as to why and how all this went down. The official story is that all this was done at the request of First Lady Jackie Kennedy, who wanted out of Dallas as soon as possible and wanted the autopsy done at Bethesda because JFK had been a naval officer in World War II and Bethesda was a naval hospital. What's probably closer to the truth is that LBJ wanted to get the fuck out of Dallas and get to the job of being president.
Right.
And since Jackie refused to leave her husband's body, Lyndon Johnson ordered the Secret Service to just take the goddamn thing.
It speaks to his character.
Yeah.
And the person that most benefited from all of this was LBJ because he got to be president. And apparently the attitude on Air Force One was next to jovial of in a vaguely celebratory meetup he had with all the Secret Service afterwards, being like, congratulations, Mr. President. They were already calling him Mr. President at the hospital with the corpse of JFK like underneath him, like at waist level. They're calling him Mr. President. So he's super excited to get back and pick out all new dishes. He can wash all the cum off all the surfaces in there.
He's excited to escalate the war in Vietnam, all sorts of things. Also, all the things you do when you move into a new house.
Absolutely. You kill a bunch of people. Bryan Cranston did a great job playing him, though, in All the Way, the LBJ play.
I would have loved to have seen that.
It was very good.
You went to a play?
I go to a lot of plays.
Oh, no. I don't think Pumps is a theater.
I haven't been to Pumps in years. Should go back, though.
But this whole thing, this was not out of concern for Jackie. This was about optics, because LBJ didn't want to be seen as the cold-hearted bastard who would leave a beautiful widow behind, because that's exactly who LBJ was.
Right.
Yeah, he was a president. They don't have feelings.
All I know is he had a hog. And there are many stories about LBJ's penis.
He used that penis to political advantage many a time.
It was
and it's not like on women either. LBJ used that to intimidate other men.
Yes, he did. And, we talk about modern times, whatever, presidential politics. LBJ used to piss on the White House lawn while talking to reporters. That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why, I use for political gain and to intimidate people is my butthole. I think it's really important to know that my butthole is just underneath my jeans, and at any point it can be released on any government aid.
Henry the Funnel Zabrowski.
Now, concerning the autopsy itself, there's quite a bit to say on that subject in particular.
Yeah.
But that will be discussed in depth on the last episode in this series.
Okay.
When we finally get to which theory we subscribe to.
It's an interesting because our main theory, which was that JFK was filled with many holes so that he could be played like an ocarina.
Isn't that strange?
So while the president's body was being sliced and diced in D.C., Lee Harvey Oswald was being interrogated in Dallas. Oswald was questioned 5 times for a total of 12 hours between his arrest on Friday and his murder on Sunday. But in what's probably the biggest black hole of verifiable information in this whole story, not a single bit of those interrogations were recorded or even transcribed, and nobody can give a satisfying answer on why this happened.
Yeah, you would think that this would be something they would want to have in the annals of history.
It seems like the atmosphere in Dallas was one of intense panic.
Yes.
And the only way to describe it, and I feel like I'm not trying to be racist against your people, dog meat, but it does feel that it felt like Old West style of grabbing Lee Harvey Oswald and bringing him in front of the town. Like, literally like, we got him! We got him! And they just kind of jostled him back and forth and just put him back in there because they were ready to they were already ready to convict this man immediately.
You know what? I can't argue with that in any way whatsoever.
I mean, I was about to say that.
I was about to, but then no, I cannot. That actually is a pretty good explanation for it.
And Henry, that's very nice. You said you didn't want to be racist against Marcus's people. Of course, those are the bone people, and
yes,
we have to be very sensitive to all bone people out there.
I don't want to make any necromancer upset at me. No. I don't want to make any living skeleton offended with me. This is what our show is for. It's for them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that they feel included.
Totally.
Well, I mean, Dallas they were in panic. They were in total shock. People didn't really know what the fuck to do. I mean, but on the other hand, I do kind of find it hard to believe that that's why they just kind of forgot to record the interrogations, or they forgot to transcribe the fucking interrogations. Like,
they were beating the living shit out of him, is what they were.
Yeah, most
they
likely.
were beating the shit out of him. He was not having a lot of civil rights being enacted for him in this time period.
No.
I think that they were ready to hang him right then. They were openly talking about which one was going to get to murder him immediately. Like, he got Epsteined pretty fast.
Where in the Constitution does it say titty twister to a suspect of a murder?
I think it's actually directly in the Constitution that you can't give a titty twister.
Well, about all we have here is the testimony of the people who questioned Oswald, so take that as you will. One interrogator was a local detective named Captain John Fritz, while the other was FBI agent James Hosty, who was the man who investigated Oswald just a few months prior and cleared him as a harmless nut. From what they say, Oswald never once even came close to admitting to the murders of the president or Officer Tippit, and said over and over that the only thing he'd been guilty of was bringing a loaded gun into a movie theater.
Which was encouraged at the time.
Now, this is actually pretty common among murderers. Very few who end up confessing do so immediately upon coming in. And Oswald was probably starting to very much regret the things he'd done that day.
Right.
But they also said that he had the face of a cat that ate the canary. That was the term that they used. They said he looked smug, and he was smiling, and he enjoyed the attention of all of these people wanting to know his thoughts and wanting to know why.
Right.
And he kept being like, I've yet to be charged with these crimes. I've never yet to be charged with these crimes. Most people are just saying I brought my son, which was my gun, my son Harvey, the gun. I brought him with a movie theater with me, but to me that just makes me a good father.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing he's guilty of in the eyes of the law is watching a shitty movie when the president was shot.
Well, Oswald, at one point, actually tried shuffling the blame on others. At one point, he tried implicating his boss in the assassination, saying that he'd seen Roy Truly handling a rifle in the depository just a couple